So the fretboard has been glued onto the neck. The truss rod is actually in there. And with regards to the headstock, you might notice that I cut it off, and I am going with this solution. This will be sort of like a Floyd Rose type locking, and there is a grub screw at the end, so I could handle a single ball and string. So it'll look something like this, which I think is a little bit more elegant than the other layout I was contemplating. Okay, so I got the neck cleaned up. So now the width of the neck, neck width and the fretboard matches. It is straight. Basically, I took a router on a straight edge and routed it down. So now the neck is complete and the truss rod is in there somewhere. And then the next thing is sort of the neck cutout. So I showed you this sort of the interior cutout template, which is also going to be used as my neck cutout template. So basically, here is, so how do you cut the neck template? Basically, four blocks of straight wood. Hey, here's the neck cutout. And in order to make it as exact as possible, basically I will put the neck in here and put one wood in there to kind of define one side, and then I'll put the end, and then I'll sandwich this as tight as I can onto the side. I don't really believe in a complete neck where, you know, there's no, or people could pick it up, because I do have I'm not as precise, so even when I mount the bridge, I could be off just slightly or something like that. And in order to be able to center the neck on it, it's very nice that you could be actually be able to move the neck around a little bit. So the fourth piece of this thing is, so basically I just double stick these on. Yep. Try to, this is not critical because it's the end of the neck, but it does define a position, and I think it's on good enough that I'm not gonna bolt it down, but basically that is my neck pocket. Right, so I just need to take this to the router to route this thing out. It won't even fit anymore. And have a fairly nice neck pocket, good enough for me. So here you can see the assortment of tools I have in my backyard. Basically the router table, the belt sander, and the bandsaw that I needed to cut this out. So I did cut this out with the router. And you can see that, let's see, it fits, yeah. And there is, I don't know if you can see, but there's probably about a millimeter, which is about a 1/16 of a movement left and right, depending on where you are, to allow for off center of the bridge. So I finished cutting out the body. You can see the sort of jigsaw puzzle that is the cut line. Somewhere I had to go through twice in order to get through. The bottom part I was thinking of using as some kind of guitar stand, because I'm assuming this is going to be very difficult to stand on a regular stand. Probably going to fashion some kind of stand based out of maybe these three pieces. Anyways, so I used my template to route out the body, and yes, it did chip out. This is, let's see, the template was on this side. I was trying to cut from this side, So basically it's the first cut side. And I do know about climb cut and all that kind of thing because this is an end grain here. But it's still chipped out at the end grain. And I think the conclusion is I, let's see, cut this pretty close to the template. So I thought I only had a little bit of wood to remove, but I think I got too greedy and went too wide, too deep in the first cut, and it tore out. But basically, let's see, this is show you that not everything goes as you want it to. So what I do here is basically, this is a square, right? Basically, only to make the plug easier to cut. And then I will just route out the part where it tore out. And then I'll make a plug that is a square cut. And this is number 2. So let's see. It's matched. Here you go. Nope. 2. Why does it look like that? So in order to grain match, let's see. So when you plug this back in and you glue it up, you will see a little bit of line on this side. But basically it just plugs up very nicely. And here is another end point that tore out, so I am gluing it. Normally I would use a binding tape to do this thing, but I'm out of binding tape, so hey, masking tape will do. Doesn't require that much force. Anyway, so this is the cleanup. And here's all the tear outs repaired, or in the process of being repaired. And here is the tear outs repaired. Remember that there is a top, a maple top, that's going to go on top of this. So these gaps are not going to be visible, but basically the point was to try to get these two edges as straight or gapless as possible. And where's the other one? Right here. And I sanded it down on the side. You could see it, but you can't feel it. It's completely flat and straight. So this is the preparation in chambering the inside of the guitar. Basically drilled all the holes I can to reduce the stress on the router bit. Okay, this is channeling in progress, routing in progress. Didn't quite finish it. It needs to be a little bit more deeper, probably like 5 millimeters. But anyways, that's kind of what it looks like. And once this is done, these bars will be removed. These bars are only here so the router can sit on top of it. Okay, so here it is. I routed out the cavity that we saw earlier. Still haven't broken this one. So this I'll get rid of, or at least cut into it. And I'm thinking that maybe there is going to be a pipe or something, a route here that is going to connect these two chambers to make it into a single big chamber rather than 2 smaller chambers. And what I've also done is I did the belly cut. In this case, usually it's waist cut like that, but in this case it's outside, so I just went ahead and straight cut across it. That way your belly would be comfortable regardless of the position you're playing. And also here is the forearm cut that I'll have to bend the maple over. And did a little bit of boo-boo here with the router came in, so I had to patch it up. Nobody's gonna ever see it, but it was bugging me. Okay, made quite a bit of progress today. So this is what it looks like now. Obviously there's going to be a maple top on top of this. Can't remember if I talked about it earlier, but I'm just going to use the headless end nut, since I couldn't really figure out what to do with the headstock shape. It's basically the neck slot has been loosely cut, and I needed to do this to establish the dimension so it determines where the bridge will sit. So this is the bridge route where it will go both ways. And I cleaned up the bottom too, made it a little bit thinner than it was since I needed to go pretty deep on the tremolo block route. This is a 2-inch block of alder, so it is quite thick. And also, if you look at this thing, the neck is pretty thick, so I'm gonna have to thin it somehow. Probably put a step in here or something to make it thinner. On the back side, I did make the tremolo route. I plan to put that same maple top as a cover for this, and the cover for the controls here. So this is a little bit deeper, so I could sink the top or that top material in here to make it look like very, very smooth and a custom made piece. Okay. Next, I got to figure out what to do with this bridge cutout for the finger access for the trem unit. And also I need to figure out how deep I want the neck to go, because that establishes the line of the neck height to the bridge, whether I need to sink this bridge more. Basically this part, if I need to take it down, and of course there's a trem up, which I probably never use anyway, so may not do that. But anyways, we'll see how that goes. Okay, I made a little bit of progress today. I was listening to my video from yesterday and I was so out of it. I guess I must have been tired. Basically with this bridge, it is headless, and this is how you would tune it. So if you're flat on it, basically there's no way to get your sort of finger in there to tune the guitar. So what I ended up doing was basically carving out the bottom of it. And as I mentioned previously, I didn't want, this part to be black or something, because it kind of disturbs the line. So basically creating an inlay, so at least visually the maple top will match. And the little goof here, but I guess it'll be under the bridge. So with this, and actually it'll be a little bit higher than this because the top will go on. Basically I could get in underneath the tuners to adjust. Actually, this is a goof piece. You can see that it's really loose. The real piece is this one. This actually was a real piece, but I got kind of sloppy, so I had to redo this whole thing. So this is the real piece, and let's see, it is now tight enough that it'll hold up the whole guitar. So I do still have this goof here. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about it. And another thing I just noticed was this line was supposed to go all the way to under the bridge, but as a router there's a radius, and I was supposed to chisel this out to go all the way forward, but somehow I screwed up and I ended up rounding this piece instead. So I need to figure out what to do about that. No, I'm not gonna remake this whole thing again. Okay. And let's see, also from a neck joint point of view, basically thin the neck back, and the neck is really sticking out on this one, right? It doesn't go into the body deep. So with this, I think it is sufficient playability. the thumb actually probably will never come on top of this when I play. Kind of keep it at an angle here to continue with the line. Okay, anyways, that's it for today. So trying to finish up the routing of the body. Today started with creating a template to cut out a strap jack hole. And here it is on the back side of the guitar. The idea is for the cable to go on the back side and then be go under the strap here and kind of look unobtrusive. Aside from that, let's see. Today the bar that was here was removed to make an acoustic chamber on both sides. And also, here you go, we created a channel here to connect the two chambers. Originally I intended it to be much wider, but that's all the space I have. Basically I just routed here, and I needed this bridge. So basically, wood dust, drilled across from here. And the idea is for this guy to come up and fill the gap so you can't see it. After the last session, when I was showing this off, I actually glued this in. I forgot about this channel that I was supposed to build. So I had to break it off, and it did come off relatively unscathed. So that is where we are on this. So the chamber is complete. I still have to do the humbucker route in order to complete this, but I was waiting to get the bridge installed and the position identified. Well, actually I'll cut the humbucker probably opening on this back wood, so the cavity will be there, and then I'll probably glue the top on and then cut it precisely for the top dimension. So another thing I did was I sort of cut the top into shape. Let's see. I'm kind of lining it. To show how the guitar would look. Noticing that the flame here isn't as strong as I thought it was, but it's pretty strong in the central part, so I guess that's okay. Here, let's see, you can see the gap here. Basically I have to bend the wood. That is why I kind of left more space, so basically I have leverage and a little bit of flexibility in case the wood moves. Okay, so I think that's it for now.